What is going on, New York Giants fans? D. Illa here. Been a while since I made a video. I told one of my subscribers, guy that I've been talking to here lately, I appreciate all your views, man, the time you take out to watch my channel, always comment on my channel, and thank you for checking in on me. But man, like I told you, I've just been sitting back in the wings, kind of letting training camp play out and really watch everything that's going on and just watching this team develop over these past couple of weeks. And a week and a half ago, I went to a concert and I lost my voice. You can probably still hear it right now. I still haven't gotten my voice back completely. And if I raise my voice and it kind of gets a little high pitched, sometimes it'll start to crack a little bit. So, I mean, you can still kind of hear it. Had a little too much fun out there, but it was worth it. But man, we got a game tonight. I'm excited about it. Play the Detroit Lions. Had 2 joint practices against them this week. Team went out there, played pretty well against the Detroit Lions in these practices. The offense definitely moved the ball against them. Now, Detroit doesn't necessarily have one of the best secondaries in the world. You know, that they have been known the past couple of years to have a strong rushing defense, and they're just good up front with that seven that they do have, you know, defensive line and the linebackers that they have. But the Giants went out there, you know, definitely took it to that secondary, you know, with Malik Neighbors, Wan'Dale Robinson, Hyatt. I think had, one catch over the past 2 practices. He really hasn't done much in those practices. But in training camp itself, Hyatt has been playing well, along with Neighbors, along with Wan'Dale. Slayton's been making some plays. Defensively, you know, the secondary has kind of struggled a bit against Jones and company. And that's been my thing with Jones, like throughout training camp, especially over the past couple of years, because I've never really felt that this secondary was really one of the strong points of this football team. And that was even back when Xavier McKinney was here. Like, I didn't necessarily think Xavier was one of the weak links to the secondary, but there were a lot of other pieces to the secondary that could be taken advantage of. And then we got Deonte Banks last year, and he kind of calmed that down a bit, along with the play of Jason Pinnock, Xavier McKinney, and obviously Deonte Banks. But there were other, you know, the slot position, Darnay Holmes, Cordell Flott. I always felt like you could take advantage of that spot. The second corner with, you know, Adoree Jackson. And I always thought, you know, in training camp, this was a secondary that Daniel Jones should come out and play very well against. Because if he couldn't necessarily do it against our secondary, I would always have questions. Could you do it against other people's secondaries that were a lot stronger than ours? And this year, you know, when training camp started out, Jones was a little bit shaky. Wasn't going out there playing very well, but as camp is going on and he's gotten his feet underneath him, he has definitely progressed. And you're starting to see Daniel Jones play pretty well with the options that he has. Now, it's training camp, man. We're going to see what happens when the bullets start flying. There's no way I'm going to come out here and say Daniel Jones is going to do this, Daniel Jones is going to do that. I got to see it when the bullets start flying, when that man starts getting hit. I want to see how he reacts to it, and I want to see how he plays after, you know, he takes a few hits out there, man. But I see a lot of Daniel Jones fans out here tooting their horn right now, saying, well, he's playing well, he's doing this, he's doing that. And I mean, that's great and all, man. But again, it's practice. How many times are we going to come out here and talk about Allen Iverson and you know, his little press conference? It is practice, man. That's all it is. It's nothing more, nothing less. You know, the way a lot of Jones fans are out here talking, you would have thought we played our first regular season game this past week. But again, it hasn't taken place yet. Haven't played our first preseason game yet. That happens tonight. We'll see what takes place in that. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing DeVito go out there and play. I'm looking forward to seeing Drew Lock go out there and get some snaps. Seeing Isaiah Hodgins go out there and play. Isaiah McKenzie. Maybe we'll see Theo Johnson get some action. See if he can go out there and really, you know, make some plays up the seam at tight end. And we'll see how he blocks out there with the second string unit as far as our offensive line goes. We're not going to see any starters on that line, I wouldn't think. So, defensively, Deontay Johnson, that's a guy, linebacker for this team. We'll see how he comes out. He's made a lot of noise in camp. A lot of people are looking forward to him and what he's going to bring to this football team. McFadden, he's obviously a starter. You know, Bobby O, obviously a starter. Maybe we got a good solid third piece right there in that linebacker core with Deontay Johnson. We'll see how he works out, and maybe he can work his way into that unit. But secondary-wise, Cordell Flott has been removed from the second cornerback spot, has been replaced by Nick McLeod. A lot of people out here like Nick McLeod. And I do think he probably is the best option to play on the other side of the field across from Deonte Banks. Secondary wise, Dane Belton, Jason Pinnock manning those two secondary places in the third level of that defense. And then Tyler Nubin has been hurt. He's just finally kind of making his way back into practice. Maybe we see him tonight and see exactly what he's bringing to the table. I've been very vocal about the Tyler Nubin pick, in comparison to a guy, in relation to a guy like Adonai Mitchell, a guy that was drafted at pick number 42, just after we took, the need pick, Tyler Nubin, at pick number 47. Adonai Mitchell's been playing pretty well out there, pretty well in Indianapolis. Josh Downs, their slot wide receiver, actually just got hurt. So that's even more of an opportunity for a guy like Adonai Mitchell to really carve his place out there with the Indianapolis Colts at that number 2 wide receiver spot. So, see some running backs tonight. We'll see Tyrone Tracy. We'll see Gray. Joshua Corbin was let go. So, we'll go out here and we'll see how this running back core plays. I don't know if Devin Singletary will get any action tonight or not. I wouldn't think he would, considering he's a starting running back. We don't really have that many options to begin with. So I don't think he's going to see, too much playing time, and I don't really want him to begin with. I'm pretty happy with where he's at as a running back. I have a lot of confidence in him. We just need to just create some running lanes for him to run through, and I think he'll take over from there. And I think he'll be a strong player for this team on the offensive side of the ball. I've been saying that forever. I'd love to see Malik play in this game. The things Malik has done, throughout training camp so far and against the Detroit Lions, I'm not surprised by. Well before the Giants ever drafted Malik Nabers. I talked about him. I said, if this team didn't draft a quarterback, that's the guy that I wanted, without a shadow of a doubt. I've said in comments on other people's videos that I do believe Malik Nabers is the best wide receiver in this draft class, even over a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr. I always believed he was better than Odunze. I'm not going to say he's far and away better than Odunze. I still think Odunze is a good prospect, but to me, the pick of the litter of this draft was Malik Nabers, and you have seen it. You have seen the way he can go out there and dominate out there on the football field. No matter what corner is going up against him, he finds ways to get open. He tracks the ball well. He's really decisive with his speed when the ball is in the air. He can fool a cornerback that way. When the ball, say the ball is halfway to him in its trajectory, and he can kind of slow down a little bit, and he can almost make the corner kind of think that the ball is on its way down when it's still really traveling through the air at its ultimate height. And as it starts to descend, he'll slow down a little bit. And then as it starts to descend, he'll pick up speed, he can just accelerate just like that. And it catches the cornerback off. And that's when you start to see him kind of create that separation that he gets at the end of the play. And, a lot of people were talking about, when it came to Rome Odunze and it came to Malik Nabers, everybody wanted to bring up, Odunze's, catch percentage. What am I looking for? His contested rate, percentage as far as catching the football. And I always said with Nabers, I was like, he was so much better than everybody else. He's not necessarily catching the ball in the amount of traffic that a guy like Odunze was, because his routes were that much more crisper, and he was just that much better of a wide receiver, in my opinion. That's why you didn't see him with a high percentage when it came to contested catch rate. That's the way I always looked at it. But Nabers has been awesome, man. Nabers has been great. Going back to Jones, I think Jones is doing what he needs to do right now. He's got to prove a lot of people. He's got to take away a lot of these doubts. Nobody's going to look at him and be like, well, this is the guy. This is the guy, the future quarterback of this football team. Regardless of what has taken place in the past, nobody is just going to hand that to him, especially at this point going into year number 6 of his career. That will not be handed to him. He has to go out here and work his ass off, which he does. Nobody will ever take that away from him. But he has to come out here and play consistent football. And those doubts will slowly start to fade away over time, and you will start to gain the trust of the fan base even more. But at this point in time, based on what we've seen out of Daniel Jones over the past 5 seasons, it's understandable why the doubt is there. And Giants fans have to understand this. See, me, I'm part Italian, man. I'm very fiery. I care about the New York Giants a great deal. I want to see this team succeed. I want to see this team make the right moves in the offseason, during the season, to give them future success, to put them in the best position to have future success. I might not necessarily be so worried about this year because I still do believe ultimately it is a developmental year, and I don't necessarily expect this team to be a playoff football team or a Super Bowl contender. So just continue to develop, bring in good, solid talent, develop that talent, and hopefully a lot of the guys that we bring in and we develop, we're able to give a second contract to, and we're able to, use these players down the road for future success. I mean, that's really all I really want out of this team, man. That's it. I may come out here and bitch, moan, and complain about players, but man, at the end of the day, I just want the team to win, and that's it. A lot of times when I talk about Giants football, it's through like what I think the team needs to do. And I know that may rub people the wrong way when it comes to watching my channel, and that's fine. I mean, I understand that. But it kind of gets boring when you just come out here and report exactly what the team is doing and you don't have any kind of personal perspective as to what's going on. So it kind of gives your channel a little something else if you're giving people, your exact point of view and how you would approach things. It kind of makes people understand like the way you're thinking. They might not necessarily agree with it, and it might not necessarily align with what the team's doing, but, it kind of gives you a different view outside of what's actually taking place with the team. And, I mean, it can't be so cut and dry when it comes to just coming out here and talking Giants football, especially when it comes to making content, or it would just be extremely boring if everybody was talking about the same shit, So, I know I may have some ideas that people don't necessarily agree with, but, hey, sometimes the content's got to be different. You know what I mean? And everything I do talk about on this channel, I do personally believe in. So I'm not out here, again, I've said this numerous times, I'm not coming out here feeding you a bunch of bullshit, and I refuse to do that. Anything I tell you is what I believe, and it's not something that I don't believe myself. So I got to stop the video because, as you can hear, my voice is kind of starting to give out again. So I appreciate your time. I look forward to the game. I may make a video after the game talking about all the things that took place. Hopefully we go out there and get ourselves a victory and play well against the Detroit Lions. And that's it for the video. Take care. I appreciate your time as always. Let's go Giants, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.